update. BBC issued a following statement to TV Zone. An episode of Doctor Who has been temporarily removed from BBC iPlayer to be redubbed. So I guess that's Fear Her. Is that the episode he was in? I think. With the fallout of the Hugh Edwards having pled guilty to charges making indecent images of children still being felt, excuse me, why are they surprised? I don't understand why the BBC are in any way surprised. They're not surprised. They just didn't care. Because the BBC has a long history of, child molestation. And sadly do. I mean, yeah, one second. Can I find that clip of Johnny Lydon? What was it? Johnny Lydon on Jimmy Savile. Where is this? Trying to find where they had, because there's a clip of when he was going to spill the beans on live on air, and he you could see that he wanted to, right? Yeah, maybe they have it over here. Man, I love John Lydon. Honestly, he really gives you an insight into the BBC. Let's download this one. Here it comes. Doink. Because the BBC's always been riddled by bloody paedophiles. Like, they're like, no, it cannot be. Like, what are you talking about? BBC is a degenerate place. What about to Doink? Video file. Yeah, Channel 4 News. Ugh, generally speaking, I hate them.
The lead singer of the Sex Pistols, he gave a whole new meaning to the phrase, God save the Queen. Johnny Rotten, as he was then, gave voice to the furious, rebellious instincts of the punk generation. 37 years on, and John Lydon, as he is now, has written a new autobiography. So has he mellowed? I went to meet him to find out.
Let's have a look at that, right? I look at it like...
Honestly, I really think he's one of the most important artists living today. I really do.
God, that man's a bit hard and severe, well, but at the same time...
Well, are you hard and severe?
He's big, a bit whimsical. Look at the chin, right?
I don't look at the chin, I look at the hair.
Nah, you've got to look at all of it.
It's him with Jimmy Savile.
Have hair, so I can actually say...
Fascist regime!
Why do you think the Sex Pistols didn't last longer?
The bad management might have had everything to do with it, but mostly we were put together in such a ramshackle way that we never gelled as human beings once we started to work together.
I find this interesting. What did he talk about the BBC, mate?
One of the things which really interested me there was your view about Jimmy Savile and your knowledge at the time that it was going on.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think all of us, what we call the peoples, knew what was going on with the BBC.
As bad as we now know it was?
Yeah, we knew.
I think it still is, mate. I think it still is.
We knew that you go to Top of the Pops, what you were facing. It was common knowledge, but it wasn't common knowledge in the media.
Did it stop at the disc jockeys? Did it stop at Jimmy Savile, or were the performers also doing this?
Oh, I have no doubt some of the performers were up to messing around with underage girls, but that wouldn't have been my way. I've always viewed myself as a victim, so I'm always there for the disenfranchised.
It's very interesting he always viewed himself as a victim. I mean, I felt he's like such a strong person.
What do you make of the politics of today?
Vile nonsense, stupidity, lying and deceit, of course, will always be a part of the political agenda.
Where was this from? I lost this. Well, let me find where I was. It's from 9 years ago. But yeah, look, unfortunately, it's not the clip I really wanted, where you see he's about to spill the bit. Let me try Johnny Lydon about to spill the beans. It's a fascinating video. It's not this one. It's a shame. It was on Jukebox Jury. Could be. I don't know. Anyway, look, it's a BBC. Come on. Like, who are you trying to kid? I don't know. Fine, let's read this. With the fallout, Hugh Edwards having pled guilty to making indecent images of children still be again, and I want to know what this means. Does this mean, like, 18-year-old girls in stocking suspenders, heels, and a schoolgirl uniform, right? Or 22-year-old girls? I'm not picky, baby. I'm not picky. It doesn't mean that, or does it mean kiddie porn? I really don't know, right? I really don't know. I assume it's the worst one, right? I assume it's worse. Because it's the BBC. Why are they always lecturing you about all their perversions, all their degeneracy? Because they're degenerates, right? No, obviously they pedophiles find a home there. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Having played guilty, making charges. So it appears the BBC had pulled a full episode of Doctor Who from its iPlayer streaming service. That featured the ex-BBC news anchor, who they paid and gave after they knew what happened, and gave a raise to. I mean, like, really? Earlier this week, during his court hearing at Westminster Magistrates Court, Hugh entered a guilty response to all three charges, with his next appearance set for the 16th, September 16th. During the Tennant episode, Billy Piper starring in the second series, a long-running BBC series. Edward's voice can be heard in 11th ever Fear Her, directed by Hugh Slim, written by Matthew Graham. A bit of a naff episode. It's okay, no one's going to notice. It was a shit episode. Earlier rumblings that were the BBC were editing out Hugh's voice from the episode. Meanwhile, the BBC continues to face a number of questions and criticisms regarding, continuing to hire this paedophile. Fuck. I mean, what the fuck's wrong with you? How did you expect people to react? That's all fine then. No need to worry. Earlier on the BBC with meanwhile, criticising the situation. Here's a look back at the official statement that was released by the media company this week after Edward's guilty plea. Well, what did they say? BBC was shocked. No, you fucking were. How were you shocked when he said this was going to happen? I've been arrested. How are you shocked? Shocking details that emerged in court today that have no place. There can be no place such abhorrent behaviour, and our thoughts are with those affected. Look, mate, we don't believe you. Right? Again, the entirety of the media said the Stockport killer was a Welshman. Really? And now they relentlessly put out pictures of him as a cute kid. Well, I wonder why that is, right? I wonder why that is. Where we are. Police have confirmed that the charges are not connected to the original complaint raised with BBC on Summer 23. Really? Nevertheless, in the interest of transparency, we think it's best to set out some points about this. Of events of last year. In November 23, Mr. Edwards was suspended at the BBC as an employer and would pay. At the time, he was made aware in confidence that he'd been arrested on... he was made aware? As his employer at the time was made aware of his incompetence that he'd been arrested on suspicion of behavior of serious offences and released on bail. Whilst the police continue their investigation. At the time, no charges have been brought against Mr. Edwards, and the BBC has also made aware of significant risk to his health. Oh, no. Oh, he feels bad. It can only feel better if a 12-year-old sucks his dick. I guess he's going to get sick then. Today we learned of the conclusion of the police process. As the details presented in court, you knew about it, you lying cunts. If at any point during the period Mr. Edwards was employed by the BBC, he had been charged, the BBC had determined it would act immediately to dismiss him. In the end, at the point of charge, he was no longer an employee of the BBC. What the fuck? Oh god, they all speaking gobbledygook. So yeah, that's where they draw the line, apparently, right? We will put up with perversion upon perversion relentlessly, right? because gay people are under attack. Sorry, gay people are under attack. I've lost where I am. Where was it? Because gay people are under attack. No, they're not. I tell you. I don't know. It's a they're here. They're here. 1 second. Let's do another quick update. See if Big Finish lets me in yet. Hang on. Because I've been waiting to see if I can log in. Let's see if it works, or if I can have to reset my. And we'll try this. Because I use my old email address. Because I signed up years ago with it, and I updated it to my Gmail address. But I did it too late. It said it should migrate by the weekend, or they'll do it manually. Which I know it's not going to migrate, right? I know, no, okay, fine. Doesn't let me do it in still. Oh, it's so annoying, right? It's so annoying. I tell you, the new site, it's not great. The old one was really better to see what was going on, right? Yeah, I'm really not a fan of this new site at all. It's I'll get used to it, I guess, but I think I'll feel better about it once I can get into it, right? I mean, that's really the thing. So I have to email them tomorrow. Oy vey. Fine, doink. No, let's go to this next. Boy accused of Southport murder starred in Doctor Who themed advert for children in need. Yeah, and yet still he grew up hating us, right? I'm not sure why he committed his crimes. It seems, and again, I've been offline for the last 25 hours. It seems that these crimes were committed by people who hate, Britishness, British civilization, whiteness, Taylor Swift. And again, that's for me knowing nothing about this whatsoever, right? Alex Rudak Umbana seen leaving the TARDIS dressed as a doctor wearing a trench coat and tie to look like David Tennant, according to reports. So that's why this happened, because they didn't have a black doctor yet. And look, he puts on David Tennant's costume and he becomes a doctor. That's the thing. Its skin color so doesn't fucking matter. Unbelievable. And the weird thing is, Ncuti Gatwa has robbed black people of actually having the whole bit, I can put on a simple silhouette and be the doctor. Oh, God. This one is achievable by most people. Right? Oh, man. So was he a Doctor Who fan? I mean, I guess he probably must have been. Right? I mean, I don't know. Let's see what he's got to say about this, right? 6 hours ago. I think. The teenager accused of, again, why do they keep trying to make him sound better? The teenager accused of murdering 3 girls in Southport once starred as the Doctor from Doctor Who it's Doctor, not DOCTOR, not DR, in Children Need Advert, according to reports. And a now deleted clip from the charity 2018. Well, obviously, 2018, we're in the age of woke. Alex Rudak Umbana was seen leaving the TARDIS in a trench coat and tie, looking like the star's famous, the show's former star, David Tennant. The then 11-year-old tells viewers it's that time of year again before offering advice on how to best waste money. Man, that's really, I thought it was just in the background. He talks on camera? Wow. Okay. Look, this is just horrible beyond horrible. I think everyone's assuming there's some kind of racial motive. I don't know if there isn't. It seems I don't know. What else would be the motive? I don't know. But I think are these rights real? Is it really far right people? I have no idea, but this has certainly been caused by Keir Starmer's complete incompetency. Oh my God. So you've seen leaving the TARDIS. BBC Children Need spokesman told the Times they had deep sympathy go out to everyone impacted by this shocking case, and we have now removed the video from all our platforms out of respect to them. I understand that. The 17-year-old appeared in Liverpool Crown Court on Thursday. He was named as Axel Rad Ark Umbana from Banks in Lancashire after reporting restrictions were lifted. He's been charged with murders. Oh, it's so horrible, isn't it? It's like I can't, like, I see it and it's like I can't read it. It's so horrible. Oh. Rebecca is also charged with attempted murders of a yoga class instructor. Like, what the fuck? Businessman John Hayes and 8 children. Yes. He was running in custody to October. I mean, are they reporting anything about them yet? Let's look up. I'm scared. Yeah, I'll do it on a different screen. But man, I'm kind of reminded. Do you remember when the Time Team went super duper woke and lasted for 20 seconds because it turned out there was a one or more purpose involved, right? I don't know. There was some kind of weird sex thing going on with it. I wonder, just think like the Guardian, Washington Post, Telegraph. What was it from 2 days ago? I guess there's no information out about him. I don't know. I don't know the news. Right, I've been offline. Man, that's really quite disturbing. We had a doctor's. When is the new issue out? Let's see what's in it. It's supposed to be soon. Is it next week? I believe. Next issue is 15th of August, so next week. Next issue, Summer Sensations. Perfect reading for the beach, the garden, anywhere in time. Oh, it means it's going to be shit. Right? Oh, God. And Jodie just looks... I mean, there's nothing cool about Jodie, ever. Right? Never. There's nothing... Look at that. What has that got to do with Doctor Who? Someone explain it to me. No, don't bother. Nothing is the answer. Nothing. It's a kind of a boring issue. If you don't like the new series, which I don't, not interested in the slightest. I'd like it to go away, in fact, quite frankly. But here, they're actually in an article that looked quite good. Right? So let's get into it. What if every point in time has its alternative? I think more than one, doesn't it? The Fourth Doctor told Sarah 1999 Pyramids of Mars, 50 years after the Doctor made his debut. Simon Gurr explores the... It's not 50, it's 60 years. What? 50 years after that, Doctor made his debut. Okay, whatever. Explores the near misses, the never was of the era that might have been. I find all this stuff fascinating. Really, I genuinely do. Various options were explored when it came to developing the Fourth Doctor. He might have been a doddery figure played by a more serious senior actor. Yeah, they wanted what was it, Mr. Pastry, didn't they? Right. That's why I always like the what's his name, Capaldi calling the first Doctor Mr. Pastry. I thought that was funny as hell. Right, and I bet that was a Peter Capaldi ad lib. Right, that does sound like it. Well, that's fine. But once a 40-year-old Tom Baker had been cut, I mean, that's also why they had Harry Sullivan as well, because they thought they needed somebody younger to do the action. Cast, he remained consistent. The invasion of time began by suggesting the Doctor had gone bad, colluding with an alien race to take over. Can you get somewhere? Take over his home planet. Something that grabbed the viewer's attention precisely because it was so out of character. Soon enough, we learned that it was all a clever ploy of the Doctor, who hadn't actually changed at all. Well, I think most people kind of guessed that, didn't they? I was like, that was revealed by what, the second episode, maybe the third. I haven't got to my rewatch of the season 15 yet. Right, I got stuck on Underworld. I'm like, oh, really? Do I have to? Yes, and it's not that bad. It's just like plowing through it a little bit. Well, Matt. In fact, Tom Baker noted he severely limited the role of Doctor. Blah 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 blah. Late 70s script that Doug Larson once considered a story that would be explored that explored the character of the Doctor a bit more by showing him as sick and tired and continually having to save the universe As Adams recounted in 1980's academic term, Doctor Who, the unfolding text. I've never met anybody who was able to read that, right? That was insane, that book. They did quote it in Dragonfire, no? When somebody's... the Doctor's trying to distract a guard, and they start having a philosophical discussion. They start literally quoting the unfolding text because it was, impenetrable for most people. Then bamboozles the Doctor. Anyway, Winners also vetoed Baker's idea that Doctor's Companion, ignoring the suggestions but taken by a parrot. Well, they did do the parrot in the Pirate Planet, right? Ignoring a parrot or a talking cabbage put on his shoulder. Effectively, a version of K9 that didn't require Baker to crouch down for the 2 shots. If this companion had to be, a woman, Baker was keen to cast against type. I would rather there's someone like Miriam Margolis, no, Pretty Hells, no, or Silver, no. No, we want somebody hot and sexy. Tom, you're wrong. Right? All those ideas are wrong. We don't want any of that. No. We want Lou Jameson, darling, okay, or Mary Tam, right? They're good ideas, especially Mary Tam. Feeling that the companion is a storytelling advice that's not being cynical. It's a fact. Okay, blah 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 blah. Point is, I'm glad we're getting to a point. Although the lead actor and the script editor, let alone anybody else, could suggest different ways of doing things. Each of the 4 producers who oversaw the Doctor's era had a firm sense of his character and the role of his companions and the sorts of adventures that would have. Oh, God. Okay, I was excited for that. I'm bored to fucking tears. Go somewhere. Other things adapted, blah, blah, blah. The more practicality, blah, blah, blah. Getting Doctor Who made. Williams, for example, was keen at one point to show the Doctor, show a very different version of Gallifrey with a cat people. Yes, cat people and Judy Card or something. The proposal story of David Weir's Killers in the Dark proved too ambitious for the programme's limited resources and was replaced by the more modest Invasion of Time. Even the producers were constrained by what they could bring to the series. Okay, fine. Given these different limitations, the space station, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, stories changed during production. That's true. Fine. But there are other key moments which we can... Fine. Are we finally out to the beginning of this article? 2 pages of waffle. Right? Waffle. Fine. So, yeah, things that they nearly did but didn't. Now we're there. Okay. What if Sarah had stayed, right? I think she left because she wanted to leave, right? Liz Slade was hugely successful in the role of Sarah Jane Smith and popular both cast and crew. She decided to leave in early 76 during the production of the Seeds of Doom. If Philip Kinchker had begged me to stay, maybe I would have been persuaded. Sladen recalled in her autobiography. I think Hinchcliffe was smart enough to know it was time for a change as well. Right? Look, it was a perfect combination for how many years? Yeah, season 12, 13, and for 2.5 years. More than that, it gets stale. I actually agree with him. I really do. And I think it was a good idea bringing in Leela. Right? It was just like, it just shook things up in a really positive way. Right? So they recorded an autobiography, adding that Baker tried to persuade her himself. Yeah, he was sure. She discussed matter with her husband. If so, she might have reconsidered. But the production team needed a new character to succeed her. Baker resisted, preferring the Doctor to travel alone. They gave it him for one story. Then to contemplate a replacement for Sladen. Hinchcliffe agreed to try one serial, suggesting something more along the lines of Richard Condon's The Political Thriller Manchurian Candidate, which it was a really weird rip-off of Manchurian Candidate and the Deadly Assassin, right? It's a really weird, like somewhat nonsensical ripoff of it, but still done beautifully, right? This will make this will make a virtue of the solo Doctor. One man against the whole world, but which world? Script editor, Holmes proposed. So even Doctor Who, a whole story set on the Doctor's home planet Gallifrey. The adventure that followed the Deadly Assassin introduced a great deal of lore into the Doctor's people, including the names Rassilon, the capital, and blimey, that all stuck, didn't it? Wow, I can't believe, was that the first time I mentioned Rassilon? The story production design included distinctive collars of the Time Lords and their logo. Every depiction of Gallifrey since then has drawn from richly from this Invasion of Time 96 movie. Did it talk about Gallifrey in the 96 movie? And okay, blah blah blah. None of this would have happened if Sarah Jane had stayed. Oh, okay. Well, maybe they would have done. I don't know. Like maybe they would have done this Invasion of Time with Sarah Jane Smith. That doesn't seem like a massive leap to me, quite frankly. Oops. But this story, what was it? Imogen Fendel. This character in it is so weird, right? He's very like he's a bit like the coffee what's that? The Anthony Stewart Head coffee guy, right? He's basically that character, very flirty. Until he gets killed, along with everybody else. Imogen Fendel. Oh, you're not having a good day. Can't find it. I can't stand it when I can't find a tissue as well. Fine. What if the Master had posed as Wang Chiang? Well, that's a bit of a weird what if, isn't it? I mean, that's a bit like well, what if Maverick Chen was really Billy Bunter? What? I don't know. Maybe. The photograph on page 400 of the New Larousse Encyclopedia of Mythology shows a carved wooden figure from a collection of London's Horny Man Museum. Man, that's I think I found my museum. I want to go to the Horny Man Museum. Hi, I'm the Horny Man. Where's the museum? That's really cool, the Horny Man. That's so weird. Never mind. We have a town in Israel called Kfar Penis, right? I said, well, do you mean like peanut? No, penis. Okay. The caption says that when Chiang became a god after he lived through 17 successful lives filled with prodigious events. This entry inspired Robert Holmes to write Talons of Wang Chiang, drawing on the idea that somebody who lived successive lives. In early drafts, Hinchcliffe recalls that the 96 book, Classic Who, the Hinchcliffe Years, Bob Holmes wanted the character to be the Master, the evil Time Lord, introduced by Holmes in 71, Terror of the Autons. He had featured regularly in Doctor Who 73 where Roger Gardo died in a car crash. The character had been resurrected in Deadly Assassin. He was now due to return for just 3 serials later. Okay, that sounds like the sort of thing Big Finish would have done. Hang on. But Hinckley objected strongly. So here's the thing. The golden age of season 14, it wasn't Holmes, it wasn't Robert Holmes, it wasn't Philip Hinchcliffe. It was the Gestalt entity of Hinchcliffe and Holmes. Like, I'm watching Rebel Moon now. I'm like 2 hours in. And boy, I just wish Zack Snyder had a counterbalance to, like, veto bad ideas. So there's a bunch of bad ideas in there. Marring what would have been a really interesting sci-fi epic legend. I don't know. I'm just feeling that it was a abrogation of originality. Honestly, the story. So he said that's boring. Fine. I tend to agree with him. I do think the story villain now is Magnus Grill. Again, a great villain. And that great bit of dialogue that I was with I was there in Reykjavik, and I can't remember what it was. It was great. As the villain, like the Master, somebody desperate to repair their bodies, the body damage, to the damage done to their ravished body, or ravish me. In this case, by draining the life force from young women. Well, I think I could be on board for that too. Someone happy to adopt the alias of a Chinese god Wing Chang, but the master reappeared so soon after Deadly Assassin. Is it possible that Holmes intended for him to become a regular fixture of Doctor Who, returning at least once or twice in the following year? Well, I guess so, because, you know, doesn't he make money every time he appears? That doesn't mean the Master would have been the villain for in the stories that made the screen in 77-78. Manipulating the archaeologists in Image of Fenbar, perhaps, or taking the collector's role in the Sunmakers. It's so much better for it not being the Master. Right? It's so much better for it not being the Master. That would be a really, really dumb idea. These are in completely different stories devised from the starting point of a good role for the Master, whereas the character actually returned in The Keeper of Trask, and the sort of regeneration gave him a new lease on life, enabling him to menace the Doctor for years. It seemed reasonable to speculate that Holmes might envisage something similar to in season 15, making a new actor, not necessarily Anthony Ainley, making regular appearances as the full Doctor. Yeah, this bloke, he would have been, I can see him actually being really good. Where was it? Scott Fredericks, right? Yeah. He would, was that Scott Fredericks, or was it? Yeah, Scott Fredericks. I think you can't have somebody replace the collector Henry Wolfe in what's it called again? Sunmakers. I mean, he's just perfect. So that's interesting. Yeah, thank God is the answer. This is why I don't get those Big Finishes original versions, right? I did the first one of Revenge of the Cybermen, and it was much better as Revenge rather than Return. Anyway, what if the Doctor and Leader had met vampires? It would have been awesome. It would have been like 10 degrees of absolute awesome. What if? Obviously, that's what would have happened. It would have been super awesome. At the end of 1906, the plan was to be in the next full season of Doctor Who in a bold, attention-grabbing style, with the Doctor doing battle with humanoid bloodsuckers. But in 1977, writer Terence Dix had completed the script for episode 1 of the Vampire Mutation, a.k.a. the Witch Lords. Then, however, I got to watch that again, because I remember it being a bit... Then, however, incoming producer Graham Williams was instructed to drop the story entirely. His boss, BBC head of serials, Graham MacDonald, feared it would look like a spoof on their corporation's forthcoming highly prestigious Count Dracula. No, it would have been awesome. Okay, Dix. Although, okay, this was a really good bit of news though, right? Dix quickly wrote a new story, the Lighthouse set horror Fang Rock. The Vampire Mutation was resurrected 3 years later as State of Decay, but the original would have looked and felt very different. I imagine it would have done, right? It wouldn't have had the overt science fiction elements such as the vampire's tower being a crashed spaceship, which was added to the Decay script by Chris H. Bynamede, directed by Paddy Russell, originally assigned the vampire story. Okay. It would have conjured the same moody, dark atmosphere as Fang Rock. Man, yeah, that would have been cool. It would have been more straightforward horror. Leader would have presumably have worn a skimpy animal skin in the story, given that her two outfits in Fang Rock are dictated by the period setting. But how much of her role can we glimpse in what happens to companions Romana and Adric in State of Decay? Would this tough resourceful warrior have ended up being offered as a sacrifice to the Great One? Well, I hope not. Although, the whole like bondage fantasy, tying down what she did, I could go for that. Fang Rock was definitely written into the small to fit into a small studio. Yeah, this was really right into Terence Dix's great strength, right? It really genuinely was. With production taking place in Birmingham's Pebble Mill because of the shortage of facilities and TV centre in London. But because the vampire mutation wasn't developed or written with that in mind, it might not have been transplanted. That may have meant a less production than on Fang Rock and a different crew, and it would have made life very different for Tom Baker, who met editor Sue Jared while working on Fang Rock, and they married in '86. Oh, how nice! Well, I'm glad he did make horror Fang Rock then. He seems very, like happily. He seems like very generally happily married, right? What if his Star Wars had been a flop? It would never have been a flop. I'm sorry, it would never have been a flop. Like, it's too good a movie. That's really it is. It's just too good a damn movie, right? It would never, ever, ever have been a flop. That is ridiculous, if I may say so. Right? I mean, it's just like how, it would have been a flop if it was Battle Beyond the Stars, and I like Battle Beyond the Stars, right? But there's a reason Star Wars was such an insane cultural hit, because it was brilliant on so many levels, right? It was crazily brilliant. Oh, thanks. Dropped on the floor, was it? Oh, there it is. 1 second. Let me see if we can get that. It's bingo. Got ya. Okay. So this is okay. Fine. Let's hear the rationale behind it. Right. I just can't imagine Star Wars being a flop. Right. No. Star Wars isn't going to be a flop. And if it was, like, there'll be so many differences in the world we live in today. You wouldn't even calculate it. Right. But okay. Let's see where they go with this one as I make another cup of iced tea. Star Wars was released in the cinemas in May 77, proving a huge and lasting hit. Yes. Later the same year, they released Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Oh, wow, that was the same year. That was also the same. Wow. I thought it was like a couple of years later. Okay. Underline the popular appeal of science fiction. Films that followed including Alien, Moonraker, right? James Bond did Moonraker, for the first Star Trek movie, yeah, and then I think the much faster period of Star Trek 2, all released in '79. Man, on US television there was everything from Battlestar Galactica to Mork and Mindy, and I saw Battlestar Galactica, in Saga of a Star, whatever it is when they cut it into a movie, and I saw it in Leicester Square. Right, it was awesome with that surround sound. My boss was saying, what are you going to do about Star Wars coming out and Star Trek coming back? Producer Graham Williams recalled in the unfolding text again. Like if he's actually read the unfolding text, good on him. That's really damn impressive, I have to tell you. Like I don't know many who have read it and understood it and would ever want to think about it ever again, right? So his team were quick to respond even before the UK premiere of Star Wars on the 27th of December in '77. The model film took place with the invasion of time, including an opening shot for a huge spaceship coming into view from overhead, dwarfing a much smaller shuttle. Yeah, I understand. A direct emulation of the opening of Star Wars over the next few years. Yeah, yeah, but it's not. It's not in the same bloody ballpark, is it? I mean, it's not. I'm not blaming the people who did it, right? If they given them money, I'm sure they would have done well. And we did have some, in the 80s, we had some great model shots, right? The first one I saw was in the tripods, right? They did a model shot of the Tripod City, and then Trial of the Time Lord. There, one second. I just swallowed a whole. Okay, now I'm spilling water everywhere. There you go. Just got a sweet in my mouth. That was gross. She cried. Jigga. Anyway, what I'm up to. So everything's over the next few years, Doctor Who pivoted away from gothic horror and more into a kind of a sci-fi set on spacecraft and alien worlds. Well, yeah, it was in that was in vogue. But Williams also felt that his team lacked the money and technical expertise to compete in the same levels. Yes, that is also true, right? Instead, he played into what he saw the strength of. It was a quirky character, while much science fiction could be doom-laden and weighty and pompous. You're saying it like it's a bad thing. Right? Well, like season 18. Oh, yeah, there's that model shot. Yeah, don't get too excited, guys, okay? The Doctor wouldn't take such things seriously. The implication was that the more comic tone the Fourth Doctor tenure, as it developed under Williams, it was a direct response to the gravitas of Star Wars. Without that film, things would have been very different. The success of Star Wars also helped the fortunes of the quirky comedy program, first broadcast on radio late on Wednesdays nights in March of '78. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Man, that was the thing that was a breakout hit for Douglas Adams, wasn't it? Overlapping with his writing and scripting for Doctor Who, the first Hitchhiker's novel by Adams was published on October 12, '79, selling 250,000 copies within its first 3 months. Man, how much money do you reckon he made out of that? I reckon he did very well. All right, I reckon he did very well. That coincided with the lockout of the that halted work on Adams' serial Sharda that was formally written off in the December 10th, whereupon Adams left the Doctor Who. It seemed likely he couldn't afford to leave his book with it. That was so he couldn't afford to leave because it seems likely he could afford to leave because the book was selling so well. Well, yeah, obviously. So without the success of Star Wars, Doctor Who production team would have played up the quirkiness, meant that it would have marked reaction from the kinds of comedy of season 18, the Fourth Doctor's final run of episodes. And without Star Wars to help the fortunes of the Hitchhikers, Douglas Adams may have been less inclined to leave Doctor Who, and that would have made for a man. Come on, this is just desperate and insane grasping at straws. I mean, which sounds like it could be fun, but no, right? No. For example, the unfolding text explains that he sought to give each villain in Doctor Who a credible, tangible motive. That was Douglas Adams, right? Which is why he objected to the events of Doctor's final story, Logopolis, written by Chris H. Bowman and a successor, a script editor. You had the master broadcasting message to the entire universe, said Adams, which to me just doesn't mean anything. There's nothing you can visualize there. There's nothing that actually has any meaning in the real world. He's absolutely right, isn't he? I mean, like, absolutely spot on. That's one of the reasons that finale just died. The Fourth Doctor would have died in a very different manner at the end, but not the one we were prepared for. He probably would have had a better final story. That just seemed a little bit ridiculous, right? That just, what is this? Meet the new boss? Or what? What if other producers had overseen the Fourth Doctor's adventures? George Gallico, who had been Doctor Who production unit manager throughout Tom Baker's first season, declined the offer to succeed Gareth Williams. The Omega Factor broadcast in '79 made conclusions of what Gallico would have brought to Doctor Who, a mix of compelling science fiction with, it sounds like a scarier, unit years. Recorded on videotape rather than being shot on film, the 1978 Doctor Who story, Stones of Blood, which also blended supernatural with sci-fi, was made the same way. So it might be a hint of flavor of the Gallico-inspired Doctor Who. What's more, John Nathan Turner, the man who eventually succeeded Williams, instead convinced his superiors to extend the run from 26 to 28 episodes for the first year. By contrast, the Omega Factor was originally meant for 13 episodes, but reduced to 10 for the same budget, meaning the more money and the higher production values per episode. Okay. Mike Gallico was taught to do the same to notoriously castrate Doctor Who. Famously, the Fourth Doctor might have enjoyed a bigger budget adventures if another road not taken. The mid-1970s, Tom Baker publicized his ambitions to star in a feature film, generally known as Doctor Who Meets Scratch Man. I never read the book of that, right? And the writer, director attached went on to produce and direct Worlds of Gummidge, blah, 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 John Pertwee, shot entirely on film. It's a compelling, unsettling mix of folk horror and knockabout. Okay, fine, whatever. Again, vaguely interesting artwork kind of just goes in weird directions, right? What to tell you. What else is in this month? I didn't get to more detail, right? Wait, what was that over there? Oh, that's from probably from Radio Times. Who's doing the artwork on these? I find the artwork on these strips to be very underwhelming, right? I really like. They really need new talent, right? I just, although I get the feeling like, why bother? Like, that's really where I am with the shoots. Just why bother? Interesting. Factory and Space Museum, that is a weird story, right? That is a weird story. Starcross, no, I think I listened a bit. I just don't understand why anybody would want this, right? I get the salsa. I got the Emperor Dalek. That's awesome. I don't understand why anybody would want that. Nothing of interest whatsoever, right? Really, just genuinely. Wow. Though this has been delayed, I think so people can get their website at Big Finish, which I still can't. I got to ask them to let me in manually tomorrow. Please do that. And I do understand that What's Things new thing is doing quite well. I did the Resurrection Plant. Will Hagcroft, there you go. Will Hagcroft's Reasons to Love, season 19. Again, listen, may I strongly recommend his new download or CD, Death Contract, read by Matthew Ward as a Fifth Doctor adventure. Let's read. He conjures up the spirit of 1902 in audiobook style contract. What is like best about the Fifth Doctor's first year? I like this answer. Yes, I'm intrigued. I mean, because again, Will is a Parker real fan, right? He knows what he's talking about. That face, I hate it. That's Nissa, Sarah Sutton in Castrovalva, closing the shutter on the TARDIS scanner after seeing a gleeful, scheming Atney Ainley. Chimney, the face is what of her own father, whose body Tremas has absorbed. They play that quite well on Big Finish. This is me. The second episode, 4 to Doomsday, has one of the season's best cliffhangers when the ancient Greek abductee Big Don, played by Philip Locke, opens his hidden compartment to reveal he's actually an android holding a microchip between his finger and thumb. This is me, right? That's pretty good. Yes, that was a bit of greatness. I do agree with you. Mummy, make him go away. How's the unbalanced colonial space officer Hindle? Yeah, he was great. His performance is one of the great things about this fantastic story, right, Kinder? But yeah, his is. I mean, even Nera Shooter's good in this. And his superior son of Richard Todd emerges unexpectedly from the jungle of Diva Loca. Throughout the story, I always thought Kinder would be great as like a standalone Doctor Who movie, right? They just appear out of nowhere. They don't even have to mention the TARDIS, right? From the story, unexpected from the jungle of Diva Loca. Throughout the history, Hindle's ego and his materialist goals are eventually eroded, leaving him calm and serene. By the end, as a boy, yeah, it's true. And I struggle with Kinder, but as a boy, I struggle with Kinder. But as an adult, I actually love the depth and breadth of it. Yeah, I love Kinder, right? All-time greatness. A broken clock keeps better time than you, Doc. At least it's right twice a day, which is more than you ever are. Tegan Josephine gets mixed up in adventures of the Doctor during Logopolis, the final adventure of the Fourth Doctor's incarnation, keen to get back to her own life and a new job as air stewardess, based out of London's Heathrow Airport. she's at her wit's end by the time she reaches the visitation. The fourth Doctor's I love the visitation. Fourth Doctor, the fourth adventure in season 19. The Doctor has little control over his space-time machine, but the events that follow result in one of the season's best loved serials. What was that? The Doctor has little control over his space-time machine, but events that follow result in one of the best loved. Visitation good. In Dark Contract, I wanted to play with Tegan's frustration and anger, so that when the TARDIS arrives in Dickensian London, and the crew are nervously waiting for her to explode, they're surprised to say that they're surprised to not say relieved by her reaction. Oh, come back. Now I'll never know if I was right. Says Matthew Waterhouse. Whenever my dad sat down to watch Doctor Who with me, Matthew Waterhouse didn't have to utter many lines before my dad would blurt out, "I hate that kid." Right? It upset me because I loved Adric. But by the time season 19 was underway, I was age 11 and 3/4, struggling with transition into secondary school, and felt very out of sorts. Like I didn't belong anywhere. The Doctor's boy companion also didn't belong anywhere. So did on Doctor Who. He stowed away in the TARDIS because his brother had been killed and there was nothing left for him to do among his own people. Then he found himself traveling alone with the fourth Doctor, Tom Baker, after the shock departure of Romana in Warrior's Gate. Great episode. Some would say it gets a lot better if you get super, super duper high when you watch it. Some would say maybe me. He got on famously with his new traveling companion Nyssa, but struggled with Tegan and her cuntiness. What if it says that? No, and earthly preoccupations. I think you should. Well, you should have gone for cuntiness, mate. Okay, cuntiness. That would have been better. Let's see. I'm a great editor for you. Finally, he lost his adoptive father when the enigmatic brooding fourth Doctor regenerated in the youthful, less certain fifth Doctor, Peter Davison. Many an argument erupted from the new Doctor's impatience from Adric, looking one with as irritated older brother. No wonder he wanted to return home. In Dark Contract, we're going back to that. Well done. Yeah, keep the other prize there, Will. I sowed the seeds that lead to Adric's decision to try and return to E-Space and Earthshock. A choice that really goes unfulfilled when the boy's life is brought to a startling and tragic end. Well, like many youngsters in 1982, I was utterly bereft at the loss of my hero. I was happy it was dead. Some 40 years later, things had come full circle, pun intended, as Matthew Aldous is a reader of my BBC audiobook. You know, he does always seem like such a nice chap when he's on these documentaries and stuff. Happy landings, Doctor. Finally returned to Heathrow at the end of Time Flight. Tegan realizes she isn't ready for her home and decides not to catch her Air Australia flight. But she then misses the TARDIS, which fades away from the view, and she runs up to the rooftop landing site. For its cheap effects and contrivances, there's much to like about the concluding story. No, there's not, mate. I mean, wow, you are very forgiving. Concluding story of the season, not least the TARDIS lying on its back on Concord. Okay, that was good. While the interior spun the right way up, the concept of an alien Zerafin would inspire many a spin-off tale to come. Yeah, but it didn't, right? But it didn't. My name's Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.